She was so excited, and she and Dave just were going on and on how the events of the past 2 weeks have just changed their life.
There's a name like Brittany.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh, yes.
She would have made a good teacher. She may have talked about wanting to be a teacher. Okay. Other people made shirts with something about her that multiple people are wearing. You need to let people know this is real. I'm very grateful, okay, for this connection. Yay. Your daughter has me quoting Rumi. And
She filled 15 quote books with over 7,500 quotes.
I know when somebody blows bubbles with one of those little wands. So I said bubbles, and it turns out that's a really big deal for your family with her.
So how did you not get that right away?
Absolutely nailed it.
We could feel her.
And she knows now that she can be happy again and she can find joy again.
I feel like this tremendous weight is gone.
Yeah.
And feel joy and not feel guilty because she isn't here to feel the joy, because she wants us to feel the joy.
Can you imagine how she's celebrating right now? No, happy. Oh my.
Yeah.
Hello. I've been doing readings as a medium since 2009. I don't believe I've ever put a full reading online, but a colleague of mine recently said people need to see what real mediumship is like. I recently did a reading for a couple, Patty and Dave, that was so sacred. I'm honored that they've allowed me to share the reading with you here. Too many times, television likes to sensationalize mediumship. To me, mediumship is not entertainment. It's all about the healing potential that it has. This reading proved to be incredibly healing for Patty and Dave. They now know that their daughter, Lauren, is still with them, still right here. You will see the evidence of this in the reading that we're going to share with you here. Now, unlike television readings, nothing has been cut out of this recording. I am going to pause throughout the reading to put in commentary made afterwards with Dave and Patty, to put in photos that they sent me so that you understand how meaningful the things that Lauren got through in this reading are. So again, I've deleted nothing. This is the reading exactly as it unfolded, only pauses put in for your benefit and for the celebration that we have as we watch it together. As an evidence-based medium, it's so important to me that those across the veil give me details about their life that I couldn't possibly know. That is what gives credence to the messages they have to share for their loved ones here. You will hear a lot of those messages in this reading. And the thing is, many times they speak to all of us. So even though this is Patty and Dave's reading, I know that all of you watching and listening will learn a lot from what those across the veil have to share with us. One of the things that I loved about this reading for Patty and Dave is that there were several things that didn't make sense to them at the time. And this happens in almost every reading I do. The beauty is when they have aha moments later, which you'll see, when they realize what their loved one was trying to tell them. And what that tells us is that the medium is not reading their client's mind, or they would know immediately what the person across the veil is talking about. So I know you'll enjoy those moments. How this came about is that I received an email from my beautiful friend and neighbor, Irene Vuvalides. She's the vice president of a great organization called Helping Parents Heal. You can find more about this online at helpingparentsheal.org. So Irene sent me an email because she found it so interesting that here's a woman, Patty, who reached out to Irene after reading my book, Still Right Here. And it turns out that Patty and Dave just moved to Bluffton, where Irene and I live. I don't know that Patty knew that I also live in Bluffton. But when I got the email and I read that their daughter Lauren's birthday was coming on Sunday, just 2 days later, I had this knowing that this was a setup from Irene's daughter, Carly, across the veil, and Lauren, Patty and Dave's daughter. I said to my husband, Ty, I'll be right back. I have to walk over to see Irene. And I knew already what I was going to do. I got over to Irene's house and I said, let's call Patty. I want to gift them a reading on their daughter's birthday. And it was such a joy to dial the number because Patty had given Irene her number and to say, I'd like to give you a reading on your daughter's birthday. And this reading here is what unfolded after that. Okay, so I always start a reading by saying, well, I ask my clients what their expectation is, and I'm just, I know that you both want to hear from your daughter, and but I am always open to any other loved ones who want to come through to make sure I notice them and bring them through if they come through. Okay, so don't be surprised if we get other people. I start by saying everything I know in advance, and I know that you have a daughter who passed from leukemia 3 years ago, and that you're in Washington State, that you send up balloons on her birthday in her memory, her honor, and that you live in Bluffton. That's the full sum total of everything I know. So anything else is coming from her. Okay? Anything else we get correctly. So this is not about testing the medium. This is about celebrating who shows up. So please let me know as I go along. That makes sense. It doesn't make sense. You're part of that. It's very important that we all just flow naturally. I don't want to be having a big conversation with y'all though. So if something comes up that's really cool and you have to say, can we tell you why that's important? Yes, I love that because I already told it to you. But then don't go tell me all kinds of things about her. Okay? That's about all I need to say. Any questions before we get going? Okay. All right. I was feeling before we started, and I feel it now, that Carly and your daughter, they set us up. They would be together, but that their personalities are very similar. Now, I'm not going to go just by what I know about Carly. I need to feel it from your daughter. So I'm going to try to see how she differs from Carly as well. So I'll report all of this as I get it. So welcome. You made me see me do this little lip twitch occasionally. I can't control that. That's my guide saying, say that, say that. It's like, trust this. But she feels to me bright, sharp, intelligent, vibrant, confident, yet also very sensitive, especially to other people's feelings. She's making some motion now like this, and I feel flowy. I feel like I have, I believe this is just metaphorical, but I feel like I have the diaphanous gown or flowy material around me, and she's just showing me this, giving me this feeling that, I'll give it back because I lost it. What is that? Of a free spirit, but not in an independent, sassy way like Carly was. It's more of a feeling. I feel like she always knew she was connected to something more, that she was just, there's a depth to her and a sense of knowing or oneness that most young people don't have. You understand that? Okay. She just said, now I hear her now for the first time, I wanted to get it right. And what I feel she means by that is anything she did. There's a feeling of perfectionism, but I was going to say, but not, but actually, yes, to the point where she would drive herself to get it right. And whatever it was, she needed to. She's showing me she didn't need to be the best in other people's eyes, but for herself. Yep. So it's not an ego thing. And it's just, she shows me, well, why do anything if you're not going to do it right? And I am taken to her illness, which goes like this, like she's not going to dwell on this, but let me again. She was strong beyond words with this. She goes like this much feeling sorry for herself. And the rest is, I'm just going to soldier through this, that kind of feeling. She feels to me that she did what medical people wanted her to do. Hang on, tell me that again. But she really put her mind into it first. I feel like I'm her and I'm doing the research. We're all going to go on the internet and search everything, but she's going to say, wait, let me check this out. Let me look at this. I want to know what this is all about. And she's showing me chemistry signs and molecules and their little designators and looking, and I want to know what's in this drug, all those things.
She did do that when they would tell her she was going to be on a certain chemo medication or something. She would Google it and she would find out what all the side effects would be and well, I don't want to tell you too much. Yeah. Something that she did that I found out after she had passed.
Right. But yep. Okay. So I'm not going to try to get what you were about to say, but you know what, she's just showing that, if I go Google something on internet, Wikipedia is going to bring up a page and it's going to actually show the molecules with the lines and all. And so she's showing me those images and saying, I had to know.
She did.
She also says, because she needed to have a sense of control, that she wasn't going to just say yes to what people wanted and wanted her to do regarding her own care. Then she takes my breath away a little bit there. She says, don't second guess yourselves, Mom and Dad. Everything it's like everything went okay. My left brain saying, well, it didn't, because there you are across the veil. But she's just saying, this is the way it was going to turn out, one way or another. This is what you need to understand, that I'm not here for any lack of things you did or for doing anything wrong. Like her stepdaughter, it was meant to unfold this way.
Oh, your stepdaughter.
Yeah. So
okay.
So in other words, drawing me over to my Susan's picture, Susan was going to be struck by lightning or something was going to kill her at that age. And your daughter is saying, okay, now she's saying, some of us know when we come in, we're not going to live the full length that most people think. And I somehow knew that. She's really giving me the feeling that there were 2 or 3 points in her life before she even got sick that there was this awareness she might not be around.
So she would always watch these romantic movies and stuff, and it seemed like there was always somebody that got leukemia and she was always afraid she was going to get leukemia.
Oh my.
Thought she was going to get sick. I didn't know that until after she got sick.
Yes, it absolutely gives me the knowingness that there were points where she knew. It might not have been overt, but the soul knew. Oh, I got the goosebumps. So it was just like a little presaging and preparation. Okay, so.
But she didn't live her life like that. She didn't live, yeah.
Okay, all right.
And when she said, this is how it was going to always turn out. It was nothing you did or didn't do. This is how it was always going to be. I believed her.
And it was the don't continue to second guess.
Oh, stop.
Because we've been doing so much of that. it's unnecessary. But it's just an affirmation that you're right. We don't need to do that because there's so many things we think about what we should have done, what we could have done.
Now, every medium has their challenges. I have several, and I always hope that we will overcome them. One of them, I don't see their faces, so I can't describe it to you. I'm getting there. Another thing is names float through my readings, and many times they're spot on, and then many times people have no idea why that name's coming up. So please don't dismiss everything if I don't get a name right. I just heard the name Rebecca. Sometimes it's just friends or it's meaningful, but if it's not, we just go, oh, well, and let it go. Okay. So that one just floated through. So now let's just shift. I see a cast on a leg. My guide switched my lip with that. So things may not always be exact, but that takes me to an injury. It's on the right leg that she may have had with a right leg at some point. Do you ever wear a moon boot or something with the right leg? Anybody now dealing with a leg injury? Nothing. So just remember that one came up because it's very
Okay.
Or it could be somebody else across the veil who broke a leg that's using that to let me know, hey, I'm over here. So that comes up, you know. Speaking like an orator, I feel like she's talking before an audience. It's giving me the feeling that I don't feel like she's in drama in school, but she is definitely addressing a large group of people. So
after Lauren passed, I found on her phone, she was keeping a video journal, what medication she was on, of what it was going to do to her. And so she would say, hi, guys. It's Lauren here. This is what's happening. And so she was speaking to and wanted to address people and help other people in that way. So to me, that was her addressing other people.
I do feel she was quite popular in high school, like a cheerleader, but popular like that. She doesn't feel cliquey to me, though. It's not like the cheerleaders are that. She doesn't feel like that, but she has this feeling that people just liked her. Many people just because she was all around likable and not cliquey. Okay. Now. So again, I may be wrong on this one because of the way images come with me, but I just had this image of long blonde hair blowing in an ocean breeze. Did she have blonde hair?
Oh my gosh, she did. Long blonde hair. She sure did. And there's I have a picture actually of her sitting on a rock with her hair blowing in the wind.
Oh,
and it was
this is what I asked them to do. I said, if you can't show yourself to me, show me a picture so I can describe you. And it's just, she's really out by the ocean and the hair's out like this, blowing.
It's one of my favorite pictures, and it wasn't her favorite picture, and it's one that I keep out, and I actually had at her celebration of life, and my niece even said they knew it wasn't her favorite picture either, but I loved it so much, so I keep it anyway. Oh, that's funny.
Please email it to me later.
Okay, I will.
Okay. All right, that's awesome. There's a name like Brittany.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Okay, who's that?
That was a very good friend of hers since she was in first grade.
Okay, good job there. Okay. All right, now. Oh. Okay. Okay. She said very clearly, you don't need to suffer so much. And the reason that's made me go, oh, is because I'm going to babble a little bit, but we'll go on and on. There's no time limit here. Because I just recorded an interview with my assistant, Lynette, who normally schedules these appointments. And she's very wise. And she said, we don't want to avoid pain. We want to avoid suffering. No, we don't want to avoid feeling. We want to avoid suffering. And this morning in meditation, I asked my guides, what's the difference between feeling negative feelings like grief and suffering? And your daughter, as she just now said, you don't need to suffer so much. brought the answer to my mind. And I can share the whole thing with you later, but the answer was suffering is a state of awareness in which we feel it will never end. Grief and pain will pass and come and go. So when you have that awareness, you feel your grief, you understand it's reasonable and okay, and then it passes. And you go on to then have moments of joy again in your life, and the grief and the joy intermingle. And that is, she's clapping now because she wants you to know that then makes you whole instead of feeling empty. Okay? So you balance the good and the bad, but you no longer suffer because you realize everything then just is just the flow of all of this. And so she's saying to me now, you need to be lifted out of this, lifted out of this. Whew.
When she came through and she said, you don't need to suffer so much. And you explained to us the difference between feeling pain and suffering. It was as if everything became clear. And throughout the whole reading, and since even right after, it was as if I'll speak for myself, I was released of guilt and regret and pain. And I felt like I should feel pain and I shouldn't feel happy. And I didn't deserve that because I couldn't fix things. And when she said, this is how it was going to always turn out. It was nothing you did or didn't do. This is how it was always going to be. I believed her. I believe it now. And I feel physically different. We feel physically different. I feel, when you were talking about you need to be lifted up, Lauren was saying this, lifted up. I feel like this tremendous weight is gone. And it's miraculous.
Huge. It's been huge for you.
I talked to my sister, I shared it with my sister, and my sister said, you sound different. I feel different. I didn't expect that. Even if I had a reading from a medium and I was fortunate enough to get that, I thought it would be nice to know. I didn't know it would make me physically feel different. I had no idea.
She just showed me a bucket full of sand. Full of sand. I don't know why you would do that, but there's something with it. Okay, so lifting, and she took it to lifting the bucket. So you may have taken some sand to save or something, but I know that she used that analogy because you actually did put sand in a bucket or a pail. Okay, and we'll leave that with you.
Well, at the Celebration of Life, we did two. We did one in Arizona and we did one at the beach house in Camino. And we filled a box of sand and we put shells on top of it. And then we did a sparkler toast at sunset. And we put all these sparklers in the sand. Well, we still have this bucket of sand. We never got rid of the sand.
Still sitting on the picnic table.
Still sitting on the picnic table. I don't really know why. But when you said that, it reminded me also of when we took her to Hawaii a lot, and we have many pictures of her filling buckets of sand. And when you brought the part of about, lifting up, I thought maybe it's time for us to, kind of get rid of this sand. We don't know why we've been keeping it. And maybe it's, I don't know, maybe it's symbolic of where we've been stuck. I don't know. But yes, sand has been a big part of her life and our life. And
well, you may not know it, but Hawaii was Carly's favorite place, and Irene took her off.
Irene shared that with me. Yeah, that's pretty. They have quite a few similarities, those two.
Yeah.
For some reason, she's showing me a little frog, and it's now like a little plastic frog. There's something about that you have. Somebody has that. Okay. All right. These things are fun even when you can't identify it now. When they come up later, it's magical. So I've learned to just know that the more off the wall it is, the more I can trust it. Now, She was an A student. I know it.
Yep, was.
And from what what I feel, I'm right here. I know you know this, but you can believe it too. That's funny how she said that.
It's funny how stoic I looked on because there clearly were some things that happened that were, oh, wow. Those were some aha moments.
Yeah.
Somebody in the last 2 weeks has put on a shirt of hers. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
And other people made shirts with something about her that multiple people are wearing.
Oh my gosh. So can I tell you?
Is it purple?
Kind of purplish blue.
Okay.
So I'm going to have you wear it today. Can I tell you? So when Lauren was sick, Dave's cousin, she was going to climb Mount Rainier in Lauren's honor to raise money for this Fred Foundation. And
Shirts made.
they had, well, but before, yeah, Lauren passed before they were able to do it because of COVID. So afterwards, they had shirts made with Lauren's name and with a logo that she had drawn as part of the shirt, and sold the shirts to raise money. And then at the celebration of they hiked Mount Rainier, and they brought a banner up to the top, and they gave us a gift of a picture of a lot of these people with the shirts wearing Lauren's shirt that says Lauren on it.
Nice, nice.
That's
So
amazing.
Just the reading I did yesterday was with a daughter named Laura.
Oh,
Just the connections just continue always for me. So
wow.
you said a drawing she had made, and that is one thing that I was hoping she would show me more, but she did feel very creative. I'm not getting more than that right now, but I was feeling a creativity with her. She feels like she was out there for school, like college. Did she go to college out there?
Out where?
In Washington State. I know you're in Washington.
No, she didn't. Mm-mm.
Clear that out. For some reason, she's singling you out, Dad, and saying, I'm so proud of you. And there's something about you showing others the right way, the right path, the right way to do things.
Oh my, so true.
Okay. And then she puts her arms around you and everybody else and says, we're a team. And for some reason, emphasizes team.
Oh, so the shirt.
Okay, don't tell me now.
Okay.
Because I want to maintain this flow. You can tell me all this good stuff later, but I love this. Okay. Now, okay, keep going. With something about the birthday cake for her. She's showing me as an example of anything that anybody would have made. She would come in and I want to be leaning over, testing that this cake is just right.
Lauren had a severe nut allergy. And so from the time she was very young, if anybody made anything, she had to read the ingredient list. She would, her friends' parents would save the boxes if they made a cake or made dessert or cookies when she would come over, so she could read the ingredient list, because she had to make sure it was safe for her to eat. And if she couldn't read it, she wouldn't eat it. So she was very clear about that, and including me, she would even double check my stuff.
Wow.
She knew that it could mean life or death for her. So yeah, that was very specific. I remember that afterwards.
Now, she just referenced Carly, who had to have a certain ice cream cake. I don't know. It's not an ice cream cake, I don't think. But she's showing me, just like Carly had to have ice cream cake. Then she's like, you better get the exact one for me. Okay? Does that make sense? Was it an ice cream cake?
Ice cream cake. Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Can I share Irene later?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Because they go out and make Carvel ice cream cake every year for her, and everybody gathers around.
Oh, that's fine. Lauren's was Baskin Robbins.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now see,
it had to be, yeah.
I've never had that come up in a reading. For her to, I told Carly to stand over here so I could tell her. For her to go, just like Carly had to have ice cream cake. That's Crazy.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Okay, now.
So, Irene, I know and you know that our loved ones in spirit often set us up. Tell me what your thoughts are on Carly having a role in this reading coming about.
Oh, there's no question in my mind. I'm absolutely certain that she did. Getting to know about Lauren, I know now how similar Carly and Lauren are and what their likes are similar. And when I saw a picture of Lauren, long blonde hair, it just immediately reminded me of Carly.
And how are they similar?
Let's see. They both loved Hawaii, which was Carly's favorite vacation place. And I've come to find out that it was Lauren's as well. They both loved to read. They both loved ice cream cakes on their birthday, which I think is just so much fun. And in a conversation that I had with Patty yesterday, I come to find out they were both big country music fans, which I think is really special.
I am looking at, he's showing me a parade float. There are, what's that stuff they use? Crepe paper. If she didn't help build a float, she had some project she was involved in that had crepe paper, and a group of people got together and created this thing for a project. Okay.
The crepe paper was very specific, and we have some great photos of that. I have no memory of ever using crepe paper for any parties that I ever did. It seems to me that was a big thing for Lauren.
It was, and we would decorate at our house, like if we had her graduation party or a birthday party, I'd hang it from the ceilings and stuff. But she carried that into her
After she
moved out, all of their parties. Her roommate for all that time, Karen, shared this with me after the reading, that all of our pictures, all of the backdrops for our pictures, we had to have the crepe paper. Lauren had to have the crepe paper. And so when I looked at it, she sent me these pictures. There's crepe paper in all of these. So it was a big part of her celebrations and the backdrops for all their photo ops. And so, yeah, it wasn't a float, but it was definitely decorating with crepe paper.
And I love that you didn't know that it was that big of a deal.
I didn't know. Yeah, it's kind of funny.
And what's interesting about mediumship that I've learned over the years is that, it might not have been a float, but that's how she got me to crepe paper. You see? How else I want to think crepe paper is, I might see it, but would I know what it is? It might look like construction paper, but she showed me that float and I knew that.
It was like she didn't get to go or didn't get to complete college because of her illness. I didn't get to go. I'm hearing something to do with college that she didn't get to go, or she didn't get to go to the one that she wanted, something like that. I didn't get to go. Don't say anything. I want to keep going. I just feel very weak. All of a sudden feels like I don't know enough about leukemia, but it feels like that was the original sign that something was wrong. Just weak.
Yes.
He says it was easy crossing the veil. She says it's like Robin Williams with all the flowers, referencing that movie, What Dreams May Come, but none of the scary stuff. Don't worry about that. She's met a grandfather. Or she may have met more, but she's right now referencing one. This man is saluting, so he was probably in the military. Name Mike comes up. May not be him. And what else? It sounds so silly to me, but she says, everyone's so welcoming here. She would have been, this man had a heart issue because he's palpitating my heart. You recognize him?
Yes.
Your dad.
Dad.
I'm proud of you, son. I wouldn't wish this on anyone. You have our full support. It's okay to cry. But he's giving me a real men don't cry feel with him. You notice how I'm sitting like this?
Yeah.
He has this feel that it's definitely a do the right thing. He liked to, he was a little rougher than he should have been at times. I don't feel he was abusive, but he was just tough love at times. But that's because that was his duty. That's what the breadwinner father does. Okay. Okay.
Dad was a great guy. He was just an awesome father, and he died 3 months after Lauren was diagnosed with leukemia.
Oh,
And
Unexpectedly.
unexpectedly, and it was anyway.
His aorta burst. Yes.
But you said something else that was really interesting, and the way you said it and the words you used, which were you have our full support, which is sort of an interesting thing to say to a grieving father. The tough thing is that we had to make some decisions after he died what to do with mom, because he was the primary care provider for mom who has dementia.
Not everybody in the family agreed with our decision. And and it was a struggle. But we really believed we were doing the right thing. I remember walking, and I remember talking to God and Lauren and saying, what are we supposed to do? I don't know what we're supposed to do now. Hearing Papa say, you have our full support to Dave,
was a lot of validation.
Incredible validation that we did the right thing.
Now, your daughter's showing me loose leaf paper and she's writing on it. I do feel she did creative writing and quite well. She may not have written by hand, but I do sense little notes that she would leave you just because. Nice. And she just handed you a daisy, and she may have even pressed flower in a note from time to time. Yeah, tell me later. Go ahead.
A daisy is her birth flower.
Nice.
And what the hell about that? We have a dog named Daisy.
Oh, yay.
It was her dog that we got when she was ill, and she named it Daisy.
Oh, so good. Okay.
That's crazy.
She's going, happy birthday. And then she makes a very clear point that she loves the way you're honoring her and how everybody came together. That's what it's all about. She says very clearly, the love wasn't the celebration of her life all about the love. They always are, but she's saying this very adamantly. And that's why it doesn't matter when you die, but sometimes it matters an awful lot, because when we die young, people get to experience that love even more. If you die at 91 or 92, and somebody did, then people say, oh, they lived a good long life and you'd love them. But when you die like I did, the feelings and the emotions are so intense, it leaves a mark, and you have to figure it all out, and you learn to love more. And that goes around and ends up helping everyone be the change you want to see in the world, she says, quoting. Okay.
I think she would say.
No, she would, because she
That's
just,
a quote.
it may be a quote she liked, because that every time something comes through like that in a reading, that's every word is meaningful from them. Okay. And she liked Rumi too.
She liked what?
Rumi, you know Rumi the poet?
No.
I'm going to find a poem from him. Some doesn't know.
Okay.
She just showed me his name. RUMI. But she wants me to give you my favorite quote, because it's going to help you connect faster and better with her. And that quote is, out beyond ideas of right doing and wrong doing, there is a field. I will meet you there. So what that means is when you get caught up in the story, the ideas that this is supposed to be this way and that's supposed to be that way, or the story of us, when you get caught up in that, you can't feel each other. You have to go to this space where she and I are meeting right now, beyond anything. Just learn to access pure being, the field of consciousness, and you'll be able to connect with her.
Tell me about why, for the first time in thousands of readings I've done, your daughter has me quoting Rumi. And
So is this okay if I say?
Yeah.
When you were talking about the loose leaf paper and the note, there was one point where you quoted, or where she said, "Be the change you want to see in the world." And I thought, oh, that's
a Gandhi quote. So I give two
it
quotes.
is. I thought, oh my gosh, she kept these quote books from the time she was 12 years old, when Dave's mom gave her this first journal
For Christmas.
and wrote a few quotes in there and said, if you ever are feeling the need for some comfort or something, write some quotes. She filled 15 quote books with over 7,500 quotes. So the quotes were a huge part of her life, and she even continued them.
They're very positive. They're very strength.
All of them. And we wrote a quote on the whiteboard in the hospital every day that she was there, so that each one. So the quotes were amazing. And you having her suggest you give a quote, she did that.
Yeah.
And that you could just come up with one was incredible.
Well, that one about Rumi is so important too, because what was she showing you? That she is here, but in another dimension. So out beyond this dimension and that dimension, there's a field. I will meet you there. That's the message. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what we needed to hear.
Somebody has written on a balloon in magic marker. So some of the balloons that you go up literally have a message on there for her with hearts and her name. And she says, they don't pop over here. I'm gathering them all and I'll keep them forever. Must have. She just shot a biodegradable at me. Did somebody get some biodegradable balloons?
No,
But it's been something we've been thinking about.
Yeah, when we got the balloons, the lady said, "Don't tell the other lady," because she doesn't like when people do balloon releases because it endangers animals. So Dave said yesterday, maybe we should do something else. Or
He's talking about biodegradable balloons.
yeah, okay, well, we'll remember that next year.
See, show me your flight there. Got bumpy and had to be diverted. Did that happen? Somebody, there's a big diversion. All right, could be on the way back. I hope not, but that there.
Yeah.
All right, now probably pretty common for young women, but there are some lovely photos on phones of her goofing around and tilting her head with other girls, her friends, and maybe two in particular. Okay. And
Okay, so it's her nieces, my nieces, her cousins, who were like sisters to her because they grew up, every summer at the beach house, and they were very close in age, the three of them. And they got into the habit of every summer they would make this pose, the Charlie's Angel pose, and sometimes it was funny, sometimes it was serious, but they did it every year that they were up there, including at Kelsey's wedding. And then Kelsey and Caitlin got married in 2022 in August, and they did it, but they did it with a space in the middle for Lauren. So they said, if not with you, for you. So it was really, so those were the pictures. And they took lots of other pictures, but that was one very distinct one where they thought, their little heads tilted. So
Beautiful.
that was very spot on.
one of them has a blue ribbon, like won a contest that's symbolic of won a contest, like a beauty contest or something. You can validate that later. I do know she's your only child, right?
Yes.
So that I know. And then, Mom, you're going to be a change agent like Irene. Okay. This is bizarre. And I may be off with this. because they often speak metaphorically. She just showed me licking a lollipop. Then she stuck it on a wall. And I said, "What are you doing?" And then she took me to that wall of bubble gum by Pike
Oh
Market
my God.
in Washington, which gives me the feeling that somebody's been there lately or talked about it or something.
I went with her. I took her and the Brittany that you mentioned. I took her and Brittany to the gum wall when it was just the three of us up here several years ago.
Okay. Oh,
They stacked their gum on the wall.
a few weeks ago?
No, this was a few years ago.
Years ago. Okay. Anyway, oh, goosebumps with that memory, though. I love you both so much. You're my world. Interesting. Okay.
We talk a lot about it's been extremely painful and difficult, and we miss her. And we say she was our whole world. We say it all the time. She was our whole world. And when you said, "You're my world," we thought, well, if she hears us, she felt the same way. We were the three of us, we were a group.
I'll always be here. You're not keeping me from anything by talking to me. There's a recording of her voice that you listen to. I'll guide you. There's a feeling, Patty, that you have a niece who's going to have children and will, if she hasn't already, that will be surrogate grandchildren. And she knows it's not the same. Feels like a sister's children or sister's children. You have is it a sister or brother?
Brother.
Brother. But
Yeah,
but there's a niece here who's
Yes.
okay.
There's actually one that has a baby that's here with us. She just had her first baby.
Okay.
Almost 6 months old.
Okay. So she's acknowledging the sadness at not having grandchildren, but talks about niece and enjoying that love. Okay. She just said, without all the headaches. She would have been very practical and somewhat frugal. But I just feel that she's not a penny pincher, but she's aware of the importance of not squandering your money, and she would think carefully before she bought something that she loved. Because I knew that I can feel enthusiasm for nice things. I feel appreciation for the things you always gave her. And she goes like this, like sometimes over the top, like you spoiled me, but I loved it. And I never took it for granted.
I knew that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Aww.
Spot on.
Yep.
There's a ring she had that I feel you have worn now or are wearing.
Yep. Right here.
Oh,
Her ring. Yep.
that's
We gave it to
I
her.
was touching the left hand, but I knew it wasn't an engagement ring. That's right. Okay.
And she wore it on her right hand, but I wear it on my left hand because it doesn't fit my right hand.
Okay. And she says, it carries my energy. Like it really does. Let's see. Then she says, like my pillow. And there's a feeling that she had a special pillow. Like if I'm traveling, I got to take that pillow with me.
It was a pillowcase, but yeah.
Oh, really? Okay. And amethyst is good for you. She's giving me cramps.
Mm.
I feel that she had an issue with that.
Mm-hmm.
Reported it goes away. No pain now, no suffering now. It really is as good as they say, as good as we hoped.
Oh.
I'll send you more rainbows.
Oh.
Okay. Okay. I'm glad we're getting a lot of other good stuff, because some of these things sound very cheesy and cliche, but that's because they're real. Okay, in a reading. All right, now.
Well, that brings up the rainbow. When I have spirits across the veil tell me they're going to send rainbows, my left brain says, oh, that's cheesy, you know? But I believe she pulled a good one.
Oh my gosh.
my gosh.
That morning that we woke up when we were leaving the beach house, it was
Last
2 days after your reading. We took a couple hours just to sit there and drink coffee, and it was raining
Not much raining, but a little
yeah.
bit.
And then all of a sudden,
Off to the
off
left.
to the left, you could see some rainbow, and then it just continued to arc over, and then it was a double rainbow, and it was the brightest, beautiful rainbow. And you know, I know it rains up in the Pacific Northwest, but boy, that was coming through in such a way that it was just magical.
And it was literally right over the spot where we sprinkled her ashes. You couldn't have drawn it more perfectly.
Yeah.
And when we were, because we were actually talking about the reading and talking about Lauren when this happened, and she created this rainbow for us, we were just standing on the deck, just sobbing. We were just, it was amazing. It was absolutely 1,000,000% her work.
I just heard her sounding manufacturing, as if, Dave, you do something with manufacturing. Do you at all? What's somebody there? The way she's pushing it out, manufacturing. I don't know what the significance is if it's not you, Dave. Okay, clear that out now.
My mom's dad,
Grandfather.
yeah, he has a shop up on Camano Island, and it was called Evans Manufacturing.
You may have to validate this with friends or somebody else, but they carved something with a knife, like carving a name on a tree or carving in wood. Somebody carved something. Okay.
Can I tell you?
Sure.
So there's a log that's behind us that when we came here after Lauren passed for a couple of weeks, there was a big storm, and this log popped up onto the deck, and we carved Lauren's initials into it, and my nieces also carved their initials into it.
Nice.
That's
really
good all the time. Right
That's
there. Yeah.
I'm very grateful. Okay, for this connection. Yay. My guide, Brenda, who is a force, just said we wouldn't have it any other way than a good connection. You need to let people know this is real and how much people are working to support all of you, and that prayers are really just sending love back and forth. Yep. Okay. She's okay, this could be taken a couple ways. I just had a sip out of the mug. She just showed me taking a sip of coffee and spitting it out. So either she didn't like coffee, or they had to make it just the way she liked it, or somebody just had a cup that was bad, because the spitting it out is the significant part. I'll leave that with you. Okay. Lauren.
And this is another one. It was like, what were we thinking? Because
Our nieces reminded us after the reading.
We were up there for Christmas, and Christmas morning, we were going to go spend it at my Patty's brother's house. And so we were on our way over, and we just said, we'll stop at Starbucks. And anybody who got a drink from Starbucks that had cream in it got food poisoning. And so we left because we were coming back up to Camano, and the girls all of a sudden started going down one by one. And we figured out it was anybody who had that cream drink.
The milk in their drink.
Got
Yeah.
sick.
And they were really sick. And Lauren, for years after that, would not get hot chocolate or any kind of drink from Starbucks, wouldn't drink any kind of a coffee drink. And she even went to work for Starbucks and drank tea for quite a while, just iced teas and refreshers, because she wasn't going to take any chances on the bad drink. But it's funny because after the reading, and we shared it with my nieces, because they were all up at the beach house with us, Caitlin said, well, remember the food poisoning? Remember the drinks? It's like,
of course.
Duh. How did we not remember that? Of course, because it was she brought it up years and years after it happened.
She has a nice balance of being a girly girl and being out in nature and taken things just not tough, but strong, and dealing with the outdoors in a confident way. Okay. But yet they could dress up and be as feminine and soft as the girliest of girls and be very comfortable in both roles.
It always astounded me because she didn't always like to get dirty and all that kind of stuff. And I didn't really see that side of her. But when we would go to Camino, she'd go out at low tide and all the gross clams and crabs and stuff spitting out. And I didn't like to go down there, but she'd go down there with her cousins and out there exploring and touching and holding crabs and doing all this kind of stuff. And I was just amazed that this little girly girl would do that, you know? So it was like you absolutely got those two sides of her, especially up there.
I'm looking at a phone screen and there are numbers or a name that somebody's entered in their contact, so that when that person calls, it comes up with a funny name, like the person calling, but it's not their actual name.
Oh,
so let's talk about that phone thing. When she showed me that a funny name would come up and I thought it was like a nickname, what you sent me the photo and I'll put it on here. It's over the top, that name.
She had a great sense of humor, a very smart, clever sense of humor. And she thought she was very funny too. And so she put that on her phone. And I remember the first time it popped up on mine when she called, instead of saying Lauren or her phone number, it said Mia Rinaldi Thermopolis, Princess of Genovia. That's from Princess Diaries. She loved that movie. And she just thought that was the funniest thing, you know, and it did. It came up on mine, and it probably came up on all of her friends too when she would call. But
it's such a beautiful way of showing that across the veil, she's still creative and clever and funny, because the things she chose to bring through in the reading were those things in many cases.
The fun side of her, the silly.
She was clever
quirky.
and fun.
Yeah.
At minute 42:40, sometime after we talked about her having you still listening to a recording of her voice, something.
When you said the recording of the voice, we were like, oh my gosh, my brother. So there's this little video of her and her friends chatting, and they're talking about, it's funny, they're actually talking about something called Extra Heaven. And Lauren thinks they're going to go to Extra Heaven. And that's her dream. So she's giggling in this video. So my brother shortened it and put it on her phone and now whenever we get a text, we hear her giggle.
It's the ringtone.
It's the ringtone, basically. And so when you brought up a phone screen and something funny that was on the phone screen, like a name that comes up instead of her name, right when you said that and something funny, and you stopped, the giggle came through recording. Well, both of our phones were on silent, and we were very clear about it, because before we started, I said to Dave, your phone on silent? And he said, yes. Is yours? Yes, we checked it. Our phones were not on. And that giggle, I didn't notice it when it happened until I went back and saw the reading. And then it was like, oh my gosh, and it's placed right where you should laugh. Oh.
I'm looking at a phone screen and there are numbers or a name that somebody's entered in their contact, so that when that person calls, it comes up with a funny name, like the person calling, but it's not their actual name.
Oh.
So that I'm going to see if I can go into the video and find it and point it out for people in the video. This is phenomenal. Voices and things like that come through in readings, and you don't hear it at the time, but you hear it on the recording.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
One treatment they tried for her, everybody had their hopes up and it fell through. It tanked, and then you tried something else. So there was a lot of hope on this one route, and it didn't work at all, and you went another route. So she's just showing me that as evidence, but again, stop the second guessing. I see it. Oh, it's a double. What is it? I'm seeing little links together. First, I saw a tattoo that, you know how tough guys get chain links on their tattoos, but it's somehow separated. Like I know somebody has a tattoo in her honor. Everybody always gets tattoos. So that's lovely, but it's very common. But there's a chain link or a bracelet of literally links that I'm supposed to talk about. Okay. All right.
So I don't know if I have a bracelet that actually she gave me that matches the ring. So this is the ring we gave her. And then she gave me this bracelet that matches it as a thank you for her in college. And so I didn't wear it for a long time because I was afraid it would break. So after she passed, I wear it all the time and it matches the ring that she gave me. And it's right by the tattoo.
Oh, that's it then. That's it. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm getting picky because it doesn't look like chain links, but it's linked to the ring and it's right on the tattoo. So that's good. I get, because I was trying to see, why are you bringing up the two together at the same point?
On it right there.
What's that?
It's right. It's always on it, and I'm always flipping it around.
Yes, that's what she's trying to get at. And she gives me a big thumbs up, like, love it, Mom.
Because I never got a tattoo till after she passed.
Uh-huh. Okay, now, Deb, she just rubbed the top of your head in the sweetest way, laughing, and then she gives me the feeling that she cut your hair once or something, or something, or you just got a haircut, because she's showing me a cutting motion, but I feel like she literally did this, but she's at least laughing about it. Okay.
He does that all the time.
Okay. Somebody's blown bubbles for her. She's blowing bubbles. You know how you get the little dish soap?
Mm-hmm.
So you'll find out about somebody that's done that and blown bubbles to her. Okay. Now.
Same thing with the bubbles. She needed me to say the word bubbles. And if she showed me champagne, I might have said champagne, but I know when somebody blows bubbles with one of those little wands. So I said bubbles, and it turns out it's a really big deal for your family with her.
Well, I think she had to be shaking her head because
we were like, what? I wonder what that's about.
and
It's like,
it was all, yeah, the fact that we didn't get it right away, because I'm just picturing bubbles, and it's just like we always called champagne or sparkling wine bubbles. That was our word and for it. And even before Lauren was born. And so when she was of age, it was always part of our celebrations. And even on a Monday night, if she came over, Dave would say, who wants bubbles? And we called it bubbles it was part of it, so much a part of our life. And now we on her birthday and other celebrations, we have pink bubbles because pink was her favorite. And so do her friends. And they send us pictures of a bottle of pink sparkling wine and champagne glasses, and they're all drinking bubbles and making a toast to Lauren. So how did you not get that right away? It took a bike ride and a conversation for us to finally say, oh my gosh, of course, the bubbles.
I can picture Lauren when you had that aha moment saying, geez, it's about time, Mom.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Just wants you to know she didn't suffer at the very, very end. Don't worry. I just went to sleep. But you can't keep me asleep now. Yeah. I'll be watching everything. Trust that it's me talking to you. She says, I know it might sound like your own thoughts, but she'll shout at you, she says. Okay. She's joking about able to leap tall buildings as a single mountain jump, and for looking like a track person leaping hurdles. Did she ever do track or run?
She didn't. She played volleyball, but she worked really, really hard on a jump serve so that she could get up into the air. And we have pictures of her before and after, like how she nailed this jump serve.
Okay. Because it's all about, she's taking me after leaping, making the jump. So, okay. Very good. Okay. All right. So, but the double meaning is she can pull off a lot of stunts now from where she be on the lookout. And go out and skip some stones for her. on the water.
In that basket of sand on the deck of the beach house where we had put the sparklers that's still on the picnic table up there. Last summer when we were up there, I went down on the beach and we used to skip rocks. And the beach is just full of rocks. And so I found all these little flat stones that would be perfect for skipping rocks. And I put them in there, and I intended to put a little sign in there for my brother's grandchildren, who were little but old enough to skip rocks, to say these are the best skipping rocks. So after you said that, go skip some rocks, I knew exactly what rocks needed to go to take out there.
Oh, wow.
But he and Lauren used to do that together. I didn't know that, but yeah.
Okay. Trying to come to you in your dreams. You have no idea how much I'm around. Carly showed me the ropes. Yeah. Okay. You and her mom are going to be like this.
I'm so happy for Patty. When we spoke, and what she said to me was, after reading your book and my chapter, she felt hope, which is something that she hadn't felt in a very long time. And I knew exactly what she meant by that and what she felt. And we also both talked about how both of us didn't want to die after our daughters passed, but we also didn't want to live. And that was, for her to say that, which were my exact words. And now I've come to find out, and when I speak to Patty, I see a light in her eyes. At the meeting last week, our Mother's Day meeting for Helping Parents Here, our local chapter, she was so excited, and she and Dave just were going on and on how the events of the past 2 weeks have just changed their life. And she knows now that she can be happy again and she can find joy again. And the biggest takeaway she now has is she knows that Lauren is very much alive and very much with her always.
Very proud of herself. Carly's over here saying, you have no idea how hard it is for me to be quiet. That's funny. She's pulling something around her like a robe with a sash. She's making a big deal about this belt, this sash. She may have had a favorite robe, or it could be martial arts kind of sash. The sash is important. Any idea why? Because we all have robes with sashes.
I don't know about the sash. I know she loved robes, and after she passed, she had quite a few that I donated, because she just loved these robes, and she wore one a lot at the end.
That's likely what it is. A little generic, but I know it's most definitely a robe, and I don't know people with a lot of robes, so good. Let me
Yeah, I have one actually.
Okay, nice. Nice. Okay. She loved being the center of attention on her birthday, and again, she's thanking you because she loves it now. She loves that people are putting their attention on you. This is the whole point of bringing us all together today, was the suffering point. You need to get over it. That's said with love. I hope you understand. Okay. Life is for living, and I'm still living, she says. That's the point. She would have made a good teacher. She may have talked about wanting to be a teacher. Okay. And then she just shows me yet another thing in common with Carly. Suddenly, she's standing in front of a class. Oh, that was standing in front of a group, but she's teaching you. That's the message. Life is for living. I'm still living. I can teach from here just like this. I love you so much. Give everybody a hug for me. She just told me I was known for my hugs. And I just got my sign that there you go. Whew.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Wow.
She wanted to be, she had graduated college, and she went into digital marketing, and was working for a company
A real estate company.
before she got sick, but she really, after she did get sick, she really wanted to go back and become a teacher.
She wanted to do second grade, and she actually was looking, while she was in the hospital, she was looking up ways she could go back to school, because she had graduated in journalism and marketing, and she wanted to go back. But she started her college career.
Didn't get to go. Related to school. Remember?
Yes, you said I didn't get to. Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But when she started college, actually, she was going into education, but she just realized she couldn't make any money in Arizona in teaching, so she changed. And then when she realized what was important, she got sick and she lost her job. She thought she would go back to school and be a second grade teacher because she loved second grade. This coming about, like when I reached out to Irene, and when I did, and I hesitated to wait till I got home to Bluffton, and something just told me to do it right now, right away. And the timing of everything and it happening where we are, because this was her favorite place on earth. This is the place she felt the freest and the happiest. And we would come every summer, and that's where she had this relationship with my nieces. They're like sisters. And so that's why they come when we come for Lauren's birthdays. We all became really family even more here.
Yeah.
And so for it to happen here, and when I think I told you when you called through, I was literally standing on the bulkhead looking out at the water where we sprinkled her ashes when your phone call came through. And just there's no way that Lauren didn't have a hand in this. And
Oh, no way. It's total. I just finished writing a chapter for my new book called Setup, and I know the spirit set us up.
So the test of any good reading, I tell my students all the time, is that your sitters, the people having the reading, leave and say, oh my God, that was my loved one. They don't say, well, I think they had them. I call that capturing their essence. How did that reading do as far as capturing Lauren's essence?
You nailed it. Absolutely nailed it.
we could feel her.
Some of those things that you picked out, there's no way you would have been able to figure out.
No question. It was undeniable.
It was such a joy to meet both of you and just hug you and hold you and celebrate together. And I could feel your lightness. I would love to know now, how are you doing, and how did that reading change things for you?
Every day we still think about her, and wish she was here and feel horrible that she's not and all of that. But I think this recognizing that we don't have to second guess, and that she's in a good place and she's still humorous and funny and clever is just a tremendous gift.
And feeling like I have permission to be happy again and not feel guilty.
Yeah.
And feel joy and not feel guilty because she isn't here to feel the joy, because she wants us to feel the joy.
Yes, and she's with you now, and can you imagine how she's celebrating right now? No, happy. Oh my.
Yeah.
We might have to get the pink bubbles out.
Hi, my name's Lauren. I'm 22 years old, and I was diagnosed with B-cell acute lymphoblastic leukemia last November. Since then, I have done 2 rounds of chemotherapy and 1 round of immunotherapy. And next week, I'm actually going to have a stem cell transplant, which includes a whole another round of chemo and radiation. I wish that cancer in young adults was talked about more. I feel like it's a really neglected topic in the cancer community. When I first got diagnosed, I searched for hours online trying to find a story of someone similar to me or closer to my age, or just that would have any insight. And I did find it, but it took me a really long time. And when I was in the hospital, there wasn't much resources for young adults offered to me. And I was probably the youngest one on the floor, considering this disease affects a lot of older people and kids, not really young adults. So I just wish it was talked about more and there was more awareness around it. But yeah, so thank you.